I'm Al Bledsoe, Veterans of Foreign War, Post 1108.
And I'm Ron Chappell, chaplain at Vietnam Veterans Post 777 and co-host here for the program.
I'm Hillel Shapiro, owner and operator of the Leland Legacy here in Richmond.
And I'm Amanda Marquis. I'm the marketing director at the Leland Legacy.
And we're just real proud today to have both of you with us today. And it's really good to have our sponsor on the program and talk about some of the veterans affairs that we have at the Leland. So
It's good to be here. Thank you for the invitation.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
We feel very privileged that you've taken the time out of your day to be here. So give us why you came to Richmond, Mr. Shapiro.
Well, I've been involved in senior space and caring for elders for over 15 years. And about 2 years ago, I decided to branch out and go on my own and took a look at about 6 different properties that I was interested in investing in. And what attracted me most to the Leland was really the people that work there. The employee staff, that's the dedicated employee staff that's been there for so many years. The community at large, Richmond, I walked the streets for about 2 hours before I walked into the building. And I enjoyed the downtown area, and it spoke to me. And when I walked in the building, my chest just expanded by the beautiful entrance that you come in and the expansiveness of the ceiling and the room, and I just felt this was a really special place to be at. And so I did what I could to remain partners with people like Amanda and everybody else that's at the Leland.
Well, that's a good plus for the people in the community, and that you found the people to be welcoming and accommodating. That's great. That's great. Now, the Leland Legacy. Now, when I think of legacy, I think of history, that kind of thing.
Right.
Why that name, and where did it come from?
Well, as you know, it was before this. It was the Lamplight,
Right.
the Leland at the Lamplight, or Lamplight at the
Lamplight.
Leland.
Yeah.
And
A
the feeling that we got was it needs to have a change. It needs to have sort of an identity. And I'm a strong proponent of recognizing that feeling ought to come from within. And I played no role in deciding what to call it. I really left it up to the staff. And with Amanda's involvement in the discussion, and you speak about what seniors bring to society in general, the kind of legacy that they transfer and they transmit to their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, which, and today there are great-great-grandchildren. That legacy speaks just to the idea of what we do at the Leland. And then there's the Leland Hotel and the Leland and what it did and the legacy of Richmond as a whole. And I just commend the staff for coming up with that, because I think it truly encapsulates exactly what the Leland does, both as a building, as an edifice, and as a business. And it's just a beautiful name and it recognizes what we do, and I appreciate what they came up with.
Well, you've really upgraded it a lot, and it's really, the entranceway to it's really beautiful. We had our Christmas show there with the veterans that were there, and I think there was 13, if I recall right. And it seems like the veterans which is what we do, and we're really kind of sensitive to that. And from what we could tell, the guys were really happy, and they're glad to be there, and the place really seemed real upbeat. And I guess Amanda's responsible for all that. So how do you do all that? How do you keep all these fires burning all over?
Well, it helps to have somebody like Hillel, though, to be honest with you, because he has been yes, he is the owner and he's very involved in the day-to-day actions of the building, but he's really given us a lot of latitude to create that atmosphere. And so I think it's a huge reflection, not only in the upgrades that he's done to the building, but genuine conversations with the residents and having them involved in the building as well. So he's here once a week, and I think that's made a huge difference as far as the stability and the environment that they have.
So you come once every week?
Yes.
Is that right?
I live in Chicago.
Yes.
Flying to Dayton and drive in. And it's important that we become a partnership.
Sure.
And I look at this also as an extension of that partnership. And so to be able to come out here once a week and talk to the staff and understand what it is that I can provide so that they can do the things that they need to do a little bit more easily, more efficiently, helps them do what they need to do. It allows us to grow. We've grown, and we've added almost 30 plus people since I've been there more than a year and a little bit. And so the community has just been able to grow because of that partnership. And that means that I listen, and I bring a checkbook and I smile and
Yeah.
I go back.
That makes everybody smile.
And I go back home.
But you know, that says a lot, because I would probably could challenge 100 similar type facilities to tell me when the owner comes once a month or once a year even
Correct.
to see
Right.
what's going on, to be a part of it. So you're actually an integral part of what's going on an ongoing basis.
I take a very serious
Yeah.
interest in their growth,
Yeah.
and together we grow together.
Yeah.
Well, you know that when you get right to it, though, in corporate nowadays, you know, it's not as personal as it used to be, and the words and what he's saying there has a lot of effect, because I've come from the school that's what's wrong with us today. We're not personal with anybody. It's just get the job done. If the number works, that's fine, we'll do it. And if it don't work, we're not going to do it. And he sounds more vulnerable
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
growth
Yeah.
and change,
Yeah.
which I like to see that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of open to criticism, constructive criticism. Seniors have a lot to offer in terms of what to expect, and they can give you advice, which is sound advice. And as I said, with a really strong staff, we can grow together. And to ignore that sort of information and that source of information, it would be a mistake, because it is a community-based organization. Granted, we serve a particular type of the population, but the Leland as a building is just a community investment, a community building, and needs to hear and draw from the community what's necessary. And so they've been very helpful.
And when grandmama and granddaddy are happy, everybody's happy.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay.
Very
So,
true.
Exactly.
talking about what you do, tell us, what do you do there? I mean, we have a general idea, but
Sure.
what kind of services you provide and all that?
Sure. We are an assisted living community, so that means that we're a licensed assisted living community, meaning that we can offer the nursing staff 24/7. We can help with medications and all that too. And I always say assisted living is very much about having your own private space, your own apartment, and just having nursing staff on site. We want them to continue to be social. We want them to, you know, if they get the opportunity to go out with friends and family for dinner, we want them to be able to do that. But, you know, the nursing staff 24/7 is just a really good help with them. We're there if they need us, and we're not if they don't. And we do encourage the social aspect of it. I've always said just because you can't hear as well or see as well doesn't mean you can't have fun. And so I think that's part of what you saw, Al, you know, back in December, is that we really respect them for what, you know, where they've been and where they are and where they're going, and in the process we're going to enjoy life while we do it. So
What about affordability? How can the average person afford to live there? Or
well, and that's a good
how's that work?
That's a good part about being a licensed assisted living community too. It opens it up to some different financial benefits. So for instance, for veterans, there's the aid and attendance program that a lot of people don't know that helps pay for a significant amount of the cost to offset that. It covers anywhere, it's right around $25,000 a year for a couple that the veterans program will assist them in.
Is that right?
Then we also we have long-term care policies and so forth. Well, we accept those, that if somebody has a long-term care policy. Of course, there's private pay, and then there's also what's called the Medicaid waiver program that helps for pay for assisted living. So there's all walks of life, obviously, financially and also physically, but really with all the different programs that we have to offer, we can accommodate just about anybody.
So if I may point out, if you come into the Leland, and everyone's welcome to come in, you won't be able to tell who's on financial aid and who's private pay. Everybody gets the same food, everybody gets served, everybody has the same activities. It's all about your age. It's not about your financial background, it's not about your social background. It's about how old are you and what services can we provide to make that point of your life sustainable for even the near future.
Right.
Well, seniors require so much attention, you know, at that age. Like with my chemistry, it would be a little bit difficult because I'm kind of in high gear all the time. But, you know, when I come to your place, I make it a point, because some of those residents there I know. Okay, so I make it a point to slow down and talk to them and speak to them, because we're all going to be at that point in our life. I mean, we're not too far from that. I mean, especially you.
Okay.
You know,
He's older than I am.
15 years ago, he doesn't look it. 15 years ago, When I started, the average age was somewhere about 72, 75.
Is that right?
Yeah, today, if you're looking at an assisted living, you're at least at 10 years advanced that. And medicine has done such a wonderful job of keeping people healthier in their own home, so that when they do actually come and get admitted to an assisted living facility, they come with a little bit more acute care that you're going to necessarily need. And we try to make sure that those needs are met, whether it be through community pharmacies or through community occupational health therapies and things of that nature. But we want to sustain that level. So you're independent. We don't want you. That's because you're independent. We want you to stay as independent as independent, and the same for you.
Sure.
As independent as you possibly can, for as long as we can. But when you do have a need,
Sure.
any assisted living should be able to provide what that need is, so that you can, at that next stage, stay on that stage for a long time.
You know, it's been said that, especially in the veterans crowd, you know, the World War II guys, that's the last best generation. And when you talk to those old guys, and I'm going to use that term really loose, I guess, most of those gentlemen are 84, 85, maybe plus years. Those guys are still put together pretty well.
Yeah.
And some of them you can sit down and talk to and have a decent conversation with. And boy, I tell you, I think the world of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the world.
We talk about assisted living now. You don't have to have a need for assisted living, though, to live in the Leland, or do you?
No.
You don't have to. So let's say that a veteran decides, you know, I'm tired of the house, I want to get out of that, and I want to go somewhere and just relax and enjoy life.
Sure.
Take it.
Yeah, and actually we do accept independent living as well. And you're right, it could be somebody who maybe has lost a spouse, or the upkeep of the home is just way too much, and they can move into the Leland. The good part is, too, if it ever gets to the point that maybe they do need assisted living, they can stay in the exact same apartment. We're not switch, change, rearrange. Nobody likes to move if they
That's
don't have
great.
to.
Yeah,
And
to
so,
convert. That's
yeah,
very
you
nice.
can convert right
So
into
you're not
it.
living
No.
categorically.
Even on the,
It's
you
just-
can stay in the same room.
Wow,
And
that's
the way I
awesome.
refer to assisted living is it's retirement living with bells and whistles. You want some bells, you don't want some whistles, whatever you want. So
Okay.
in your case, if you just whatever we can provide, we'll provide.
So do you take Social Security too, or just Medicaid, or Medicare is that's the word I'm looking for.
Medicare actually is more for hospital stays and physical therapy.
Okay.
So Medicare does not cover assisted living, but the Medicaid waiver, and it's not even Medicaid, although you do have to have Medicaid in order to get the waiver. So there's some different, and I can help people through that. It sounds very intimidating, but actually it's a fairly easy process through that. Area 9 is instrumental in the waiver program too, and so together we partner to get everybody qualified that can, and move forward with that. So.
For veterans that qualify now, do they have to have a certain amount of service time, or anyone with an honorable discharge and a DD 214 that shows they served in the military?
Yeah, there are some specific requirements, and I can give them that information when they come in and make sure that we get them to the right channels to be able to. But honorable discharge, and then there is qualifications for that, certain like World War II and so forth that
Right.
you have to have served in.
Okay,
So there's
okay.
so much wartime that it would qualify them
Vietnam?
for. But it's really, pardon me?
Vietnam?
I believe so.
Well,
I
okay.
believe so. And but
planning
that's the
ahead.
good part. That's the good part, though, is that a lot of people don't realize that that option is out there. But it is specifically for assisted living, so it's a good program.
Do you take them to our medical facility, what we call CBOC, which is the clinic that the veterans go to? Do you take them there?
We actually, the good part with assisted living, we do have a medical director, although they can choose anyone. So if they still, veterans, for instance, we work with the VA clinic all the time.
Okay.
And we can arrange transportation if they need to go to Dayton or Indianapolis. We can arrange those.
Wow.
But we work with the VA clinic here in town all the time. So.
It might be a point, if that would help you some, that the VFW runs that van every day, or at least 3 times a week, 4 times a week to Dayton, because that's a long haul. When you take those guys at 8 o'clock in the morning, you're there
Sure.
all day
Sure.
until 6, 7 o'clock at night, whatever it takes.
Right.
that might be something that would help you interline with that and maybe save a trip on your part or the Leland's part. And
Right.
maybe that would be another way of partnering with people and letting people know.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, anything local in the Richmond area, we do have a bus, and then we also have a minivan as well that has transportation for immediate area. But yeah, that would be a great partnership for sure.
Okay, so if I'm a veteran, I want to move in, I have grandkids and they want to come and visit me. Is there accommodations for that?
Yeah, actually, we encourage that very much so. It's very much a family environment. We want to see the families coming in and visiting and so forth. So they're more than welcome to participate in any of the activities or anything with their family members. But of course, their home, you know, we still want them to feel like they have a home environment.
Sure.
So for instance, at Christmas time, we have families come in for family get-togethers.
Yeah.
We have nice spaces that they can they can rent for no charge, actually, if you live there. So we want to make sure that they still can entertain and so forth.
The Leland is really their home, and we're privileged to be able to provide the services that they need. And to prevent those sorts of interactions would be the wrong thing to do, because
Sure.
it doesn't
Sure.
provide the kind of support that they need. There's the open area in the lobby. Right now we have third graders downstairs that
Yeah.
are participating in a convention room downstairs. And so that breathes really a healthy environment of where they can bring their children, grandchildren to their home. There's a dining room if they want to participate. They can have some meals for them as well, and just make them feel as if it's an extension of what they were used to in their old home. This becomes their new home, and we can provide just some of those ancillary assistance that they need, but it is really their home.
So if my daughter and her kids want to come and visit me for a few days, there's accommodations for that.
Yeah, we
Is
can
that right?
accommodate to have
That's all right.
out-of-town guests as well. The only time we get concerned when they're here about a month or two, but usually the residents
Hey,
too.
I get concerned about that at the house. It's like
fish, right?
yeah.
We don't want grandkids staying a couple months. That wouldn't work.
We have a respite stay. They can
Yeah.
stay for a respite period of time. That's
Yeah.
very
You know,
good.
I think part of that, and you know, that kind of has a trickle effect when management is involved and management has hands-on, that has a trickle-down effect, and I can tell by talking to her. And I've been at an event that Area 9 put on, 2 weeks ago, 3
Yeah.
weeks ago. Massive amount of people, but everything seemed to really run smooth. And maybe I was just oblivious to anything that was going on, except what I was doing. But it just seemed like everything runs smooth.
Yeah.
A lot of it's
And he was visiting. What encouraged me, and that's why this guy's an exciting guy to be around, is he's there. He was actually at this event going around talking to people.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought,
Isn't that something?
how neat is
Sure.
that? You know?
Yeah, he's not just Oz behind the curtain writing the checks. He's on the ground visiting with people, and that makes a huge difference.
Okay, so if I'm listening to this out there, I'm in my living room and I'm wondering things like, how do I eat? You guys gonna feed me? How's that work?
Yeah, we have a dining room actually that we provide 3 meals a day. So if you think about that, we have almost 100 people now. So that kitchen is hopping all the time, and that's every day of the year. And so we do have a really good dietary manager. She's on it. And so, you know, they actually have 7 choices for each meal. So if there's something that you're not, you know, necessarily fond of, then you have some other choices too. But she really does go the extra mile to make sure that as much as she can, that it's homemade, it's it's not out of a box or not out of a freezer. So she does her best as far as accommodating that.
If I may, we also have a licensed dietitian that comes in, state licensed dietitian. She'll review all the menus, and she'll actually go through the resident charts to make sure that what kind of weight gain, what kind of weight loss, what kind of special diets do we have to be sensitive to. And so there's a cross communication between all these different types of people that are looking at information. And the bottom line is, how does it filter down to that resident? How does it get to caring for that resident? And so we have a wonderful dietary staff, and we have a state dietitian that comes in and just makes sure that we are on top of what we need to be on top of.
Does the state, how involved is the state? Are they, do they govern, I guess, what you do, and they look at all that stuff?
Yeah.
Yeah, we are a licensed.
I guess a fair statement would be, is the state really qualified to do that? That would be a fair statement.
Well, no comment
I mean, it's
on
an
that.
independent, it's an independent
That's
program.
another show.
We'll talk about that later. I
They-
guess I shouldn't say.
At
Excuse
any-
me for saying that.
No, you're fine. At any given point, they can come in and go through our facility and so forth, and we are actually due for state survey anytime. But it just holds us accountable too. So, I mean, some people kind of balk at that, but there is an importance to make sure that seniors are taken care of properly, because unfortunately that's not always the case, and so it holds us accountable. It's a good thing.
I look at it like this. We're a customer-based business. My customers are my senior citizens that live there.
Sure.
And there needs to be a voice for those people. And if the state is that voice where they can, the resident can call and say, hey, I've got a concern. Whatever that concern may be. It could be activities, it could be dietary, it could be nursing. But they want to have a platform by which to express that concern. There's a valid, there are very, educated people on the other end of that line for the state that are going to say, okay, that's a real concern. Let's find out the whole story. They don't come down here and say, pointing fingers, bad, bad, bad. They come down, let me hear the story. Let me hear what's going on. Is there a miscommunication? We're dealing with seniors, so maybe somebody misunderstood something, maybe somebody forgot something. And they take all that into consideration. And in the end, if there's something that we need to correct, I'm happy to hear that, because constructive criticism is how we're going to become better and better at what we do.
That's great.
Very true.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You know, I guess it's been almost a year now. We came in, we did a show, and Eric pulled us to the side and said, hey guys, the Leland Legacy wants to support your program. I said, wow, what brought us to that level of it? So I guess my concern is, or question is, what made you want to do that? Or do you have military experience, either your families or whatever? What brought you to want to support this program?
Well, I think that, the Leland is based on history, and so are the people and the veterans. I mean, we are where we are because of veterans, and so I think a lot of times that gets lost in the shuffle. So, past, present, future, it's important for not only Richmond, Indiana, but up across the United States. So there's a genuine respect there, and so WCTV is excellent for the community, and I think this program is one of the reasons why. So it's still able to communicate with those throughout the community. So that was my perspective of it.
When I come by the Leland and I see Old Glory up on top of the roof, 8 stories tall, it makes me proud. And I think about how we got it there.
Right.
And it's just a warm feeling. It just wraps everything up, and it makes me happy to come to the Leland.
That's when he said that.
I got some other places
I've got, well, no, when we did the veteran stuff last week, it's like I tell people, I get emotional when they play the Star Spangled Banner, for crying out loud. I can't get through that hardly. But, and I'm going to say this, that we need more of the flag waving today more than ever.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's another show, but we just don't have enough of that. It's almost despicable, some of the stuff you see that people do to this American flag, and it didn't do anything but keep them free.
That's a good point.
Right. But there's hope. We have agencies like this and
That's right.
companies like this that come on board and want to support this program. And this program, we get feedback all the time that people talk about how glad they are to have it, that we can speak to issues and things that impact on veterans. There's a wealth of information that comes through this program, and something like this. If I was sitting out there not involved, and I saw this program, I would say, hey, that's all right, because you think about things like this, particularly as you get older. You want to think about what you want to do with your life. Where do you want to go? Do you want to stay here? And so this is a great opportunity, and I think some good information for folks to pick up on. Yeah,
Thank
and I
you to you
appreciate.
both.
Well, I appreciate you taking your
Well,
time.
I think the
You're a busy
profile
guy.
itself, their profile kind of fits what we do as far as their commitment and his commitment to what he's saying of just a hands-on. It just absolutely fascinates me that you can actually be in touch with somebody. And now I know I got a friend at the Leland.
Yeah.
Forgot a problem. I can call. I want to talk to that guy. So you know what I mean?
With open arms, we welcome you to the
I
Leland.
understand. But seriously, it's really and I'd have to say that, I guess, before we end here. We're going to have to quit here for long, but certainly you've done a great job.
Thank you.
And Amanda, of bringing the Leland up, if you will.
Thank you.
And it's a proud mark in the community now, and it's been a real pleasure to sit here and have a conversation about that.
And I'd like to give you opportunity, if there's anything you'd like to share with the veteran community in particular about what you do, or how you want to speak to them, whatever it is that you might want to share with them.
Sure,
Thank you.
sure.
Go right ahead. Well, I mean, give you that time right now. See,
Yeah.
just
We
Go ahead.
invite you to come all into the Leland. It's your home, it's your building. Let's come visit and we'll talk and have some coffee and tell me some more stories.
all right.
Yeah.
You heard it here, and you heard it here first on Proudly We Served, and we're
Yeah.
getting ready to sign off on it. So,
yeah. This has been great.
yeah, this has been a good conversation, and we really appreciate both of you coming.
Thank
It's
you.
been,
Thank
it's
Thank
been
you.
a great time today.
Yeah.
And with that, we're going to say goodbye.
Yeah. Hey, and if you get time, just go walk down through the Leland. It's a beautiful.
Go
facility.
down to the Leland
Beautiful
and look
facility.
around.
Yes.
You'll
Yeah.
be pleasantly surprised.
All right. Well, we're out of here.
We're out of here.
All right. Hey, thanks for watching Proudly We Serve.
See you later.
Bye.